There is a quiet power that no insult can shatter, no conflict can disrupt, and no toxic energy can penetrate. This is the power of inner peace forged through wisdom, discipline, and self-mastery. In a world that constantly pulls at your attention, tests your patience, and challenges your calm, peace is not something you find. It is something you build. It is not passive. It is not fragile. It is a fortress carefully constructed from the choices you make when no one is watching, especially when you're faced with negativity, manipulation, or emotional chaos. The presence of toxic people in your life does not have to mean the absence of your peace. In fact, their presence can become one of the greatest catalysts for your growth if you know how to respond. This is not about changing them. It's about mastering yourself. It's about learning to move through difficulty without losing your center, to disengage without guilt, to protect your energy without apology. Drawing from timeless principles of mental strength and emotional resilience, these 8 powerful truths will equip you with the clarity, courage, and confidence to rise above toxicity, not by fighting it, but by transcending it. This is not just about surviving difficult people. It's about thriving in spite of them. Welcome to the art of unshakable peace. Your mind is the most powerful instrument you will ever possess, more valuable than wealth, status, or influence, because it is the source from which all of those things are created. It is not merely a tool for thought, it is the architect of your reality, the silent force shaping your emotions, decisions, and ultimately your destiny. And when it comes to dealing with toxic people, the first and most critical battle is not with them. It is within you, because no one can disturb your peace unless you give them permission to do so. The moment you allow another person's negativity, criticism, or manipulation to invade your thoughts, you surrender your sovereignty. But when you recognize that your mind belongs only to you, you reclaim your power. Inner peace is not something that happens when the world becomes quiet. It is something you cultivate when the world grows loud. It is not the absence of conflict, but the presence of control. Control over your reactions, your focus, and your emotional state. Toxic people operate on a simple principle. They feed on emotional reactions. Anger, fear, frustration, these are the currencies they trade in. The more you respond, the more they persist. But when you refuse to engage emotionally, when you remain centered and composed, you cut off their supply. You become immune. This is not suppression, it is mastery. It is the quiet confidence of someone who knows that peace is not a condition of the environment, but a condition of the soul. The greatest weapon against negativity is not argument, retaliation, or confrontation. It is unshakable calm. When you maintain your mental clarity in the face of provocation, you demonstrate a level of strength that cannot be taught in schools or measured in words. It is felt, it radiates, and it commands respect, even from those who wish to undermine you. Your thoughts are the seeds of your actions, and your actions shape your life. If you allow toxic thoughts, planted by others or born from reaction, to take root in your mind, they will grow into anxiety, doubt, and resentment. But if you guard your mind like a sacred fortress, you ensure that only thoughts aligned with your purpose, peace, and power are allowed to enter. This requires vigilance. It requires discipline. It requires the courage to walk away from conversations that drain you, to disengage from patterns that harm you, and to silence the internal echo of someone else's poison. You do not have to understand their motives. You do not have to fix them. You do not even have to confront them. All you must do is protect your inner world, because the moment you do, you shift the balance of power. You stop being a victim of circumstance and become the author of your experience. Remember, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. No insult, no manipulation, no act of cruelty holds power over you unless your mind accepts it as truth. And truth, real, unshakable truth, lives in your self-worth, your values, and your vision for your life. When you align with that truth, external noise fades into irrelevance. You become untouchable not because the world has changed, but because you have. So stand firm. Stand silent when needed. Stand strong in the knowledge that your peace is yours alone to guard. And when the storm of negativity comes, and it will, let it pass through the space around you, never touching the stillness within. That stillness is your strength. That stillness is your freedom. That stillness is your victory. Energy flows where attention goes. This is not just a motivational phrase. It is a universal law. Every thought you entertain, every emotion you amplify, and every interaction you dwell on shapes the direction of your life force. When you give your attention to anger, fear, or resentment, especially when provoked by toxic people, You are not merely reacting, you are feeding a cycle that drains your vitality and clouds your vision. Negative energy is contagious, not because it is powerful, but because most people are unaware of how easily they absorb it. They engage in arguments long after they've ended, replay insults in their minds, and allow another person's bitterness to become their own emotional burden. But here's the truth. You are not required to match the frequency of those around you. You have the power to choose your vibration. When someone emits chaos, you can respond with calm. When they project blame, you can remain centered in responsibility. When they seek conflict, you can embody peace. That choice is your power. The moment you realize that your energy is finite and sacred, you begin to guard it fiercely. You stop justifying yourself to those who refuse to see you. You stop explaining your boundaries to those who only want to cross them. You stop giving mental space to people who offer nothing but negativity in return. Instead, you redirect your focus toward what uplifts, inspires, and aligns with your purpose. You think about your goals, your growth, your gratitude. You visualize the life you're building, not the drama you're enduring. And in doing so, you shift your entire energetic field. Toxic people cannot thrive in the presence of someone who refuses to resonate with their discord. They may still speak, they may still provoke, but without your emotional participation, their influence collapses. You break the invisible chain they tried to forge. This is not avoidance, it is elevation. You are not running away, you are rising above. You are claiming your right to exist in a higher state of being, one defined not by reactivity but by intention. Peace is not passive. It is an active, daily decision to protect your inner world and invest your energy where it creates, not destroys. When you master this, you don't just survive toxic people, you transcend them. Strategic indifference is not apathy. It is the highest form of emotional intelligence. It is the deliberate choice to disengage from negativity, not out of weakness, but out of strength. Most people believe that to be strong means to fight back, to argue, to defend, to prove. But true power often lies in the opposite, the ability to remain silent, calm, and unaffected in the face of provocation. Toxic individuals thrive on reaction. They seek validation through conflict, control through chaos, and influence through emotional manipulation. When you respond with anger, frustration, or even excessive justification, you confirm their power over you. But when you meet their outbursts with stillness, their accusations with silence, and their drama with unwavering composure, you strip them of their leverage. You send a clear, unspoken message. You are not available for disturbance. This is not about pretending not to feel or suppressing emotion. It is about mastery. It is about recognizing that not every battle deserves your presence, and not every voice deserves your attention. Indifference, when used strategically, is a shield. It protects your peace, preserves your energy, and maintains your focus on what truly matters. It allows you to walk away from conversations that go nowhere, to ignore comments designed to trigger, and to refuse participation in cycles of blame and resentment. The most powerful people in the world are not those who win every argument, but those who refuse to be drawn into unnecessary ones. They understand that dignity does not demand defense against every insult. They know that their worth is not determined by the opinions of those who lack self-awareness. And they realize that sometimes the most transformative action is no action at all. Silence can be louder than words. Calm can be more disruptive than conflict. When you choose not to react, you take full control of the situation because you are no longer playing their game. You are operating from a higher level of awareness, one where peace is non-negotiable and self-mastery is non-negotiable. So the next time you're faced with negativity, don't ask how you should respond. Ask whether a response is even necessary. Often the answer is no, and in that stillness you find your greatest strength. A clear purpose is the most unshakable foundation you can build your life upon, because when you know exactly who you are and where you're going, distractions lose their power to derail you. Toxic people rely on uncertainty, self-doubt, and lack of direction to gain influence. They thrive in the chaos of someone who is emotionally reactive, mentally scattered, or spiritually unanchored. But when you move through life with a definite goal, a burning mission, and an unwavering commitment to your vision, their words become background noise. Their attempts to pull you down, criticize your path, or plant seeds of doubt simply bounce off the armor of your focus. Purpose is not just motivation, it is protection. It aligns your mind, emotions, and actions with a higher frequency, one that does not resonate with pettiness, jealousy, or negativity. When you are deeply committed to a meaningful objective, You no longer have time or energy for unnecessary conflicts. You don't engage in power struggles because you're already building your empire. You don't waste words defending your choices because you're too busy proving them right through action. This kind of focus creates an invisible boundary around you, one that repels toxicity simply because it has no entry point. A person driven by purpose doesn't seek approval from those who don't understand their journey. They don't measure their success by the opinions of those stuck in limitation. Instead, they measure progress by internal standards, growth, contribution, integrity, and that inner compass keeps them steady, even in the presence of those who wish to destabilize them. When you live with intention, you stop giving weight to every opinion, every criticism, every attempt to divert your energy. You learn to discern what serves your mission and what only serves to distract it. And in that discernment, you gain freedom. You become immune to manipulation, not because you fight it, but because you've rendered it irrelevant. Your purpose becomes your priority, and everything else, no matter how loud or aggressive, fades into the background. This is not arrogance, it is clarity. It is the quiet confidence of someone who knows their value, embraces their path, and refuses to be sidetracked by anyone who hasn't earned a place in their journey. When you carry purpose like a flame, no shadow can extinguish it. The company you keep does not merely influence your mood. It shapes your mindset, your beliefs, your habits, and ultimately, your destiny. You are constantly absorbing the energy, attitudes, and expectations of those around you, often without realizing it. And if that circle includes individuals who are consistently negative, critical, or emotionally draining, you are slowly being pulled into their frequency, whether you intend to be or not. This is not about blame or judgment, it is about awareness. The simple truth is that you cannot rise higher than the environment you allow yourself to live in. Just as clean water cannot remain pure in a polluted vessel, your mind cannot remain clear and focused when saturated with negativity. Selective association is not about isolation or arrogance, it is about responsibility. It is the mature recognition that your peace, growth, and success depend on the quality of your connections. You do not have to sever every difficult relationship, but you must stop granting unlimited access to your inner world. You must set boundaries that protect your energy and honor your vision. This means limiting time with those who constantly complain without taking action, who undermine your confidence, or who thrive on drama and conflict. It means refusing to let their limitations define your possibilities. You are not obligated to fix everyone who crosses your path. In fact, trying to do so often costs you your own stability. True compassion does not require self-sacrifice. You can wish someone well without allowing their chaos into your life. You can love someone from a distance. You can respect their journey while fiercely protecting your own. When you surround yourself with people who inspire, challenge, and support you, individuals who operate from integrity, growth, and positivity, you create an environment where your highest self can flourish. Their energy lifts you. Their belief in you strengthens your own. And in that space, toxic influences lose their grip. You begin to think bigger, feel stronger, and move with greater confidence. Selective association is not exclusion, it is elevation. It is the conscious decision to align with those who reflect the person you are becoming, not the person you're leaving behind. Your life expands to the level of your closest influences. Choose them not out of convenience, but with intention. Because the right people don't drain you, they awaken you. Every encounter with negativity holds the hidden potential to become fuel for transformation if you choose to see it that way. Most people view toxic individuals as obstacles, enemies, or sources of pain. But the most empowered minds see them differently, as unintended teachers, as catalysts for growth, as mirrors reflecting the very qualities they must master within themselves. When someone attacks your confidence, they are unknowingly giving you the chance to strengthen it. When they display jealousy or resentment, they are showing you the cost of those emotions and reinforcing your commitment to rise above them. When they try to control or manipulate, they are highlighting the importance of your boundaries and self-respect. Nothing in life is purely destructive unless you allow it to be. Even the most painful interactions can be alchemized into wisdom, resilience, and clarity if you refuse to be a victim of them. The key is not to ignore the experience, but to extract its lesson and release its sting. Ask yourself, what did this reveal about my strength? Where did I hold my ground? Where can I grow? Every time you walk away from a toxic situation with your peace intact, you have won. Not because you changed the other person, but because you refuse to be changed by them. That is victory. That is power. And each time it happens, you build unshakable confidence in your ability to navigate difficulty without losing yourself. This mindset shifts you from passive endurance to active mastery. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this here to teach me?" In that shift, you reclaim your power. You transform pain into progress. You turn what was meant to break you into what builds you. The greatest leaders, visionaries, and masters of inner peace were not those who lived sheltered lives, but those who faced adversity and used it as a forge. They didn't wait for perfect conditions. They created strength from imperfect ones. So the next time you face negativity, don't just endure it. Engage with it consciously. Let it sharpen your patience, deepen your empathy, and solidify your purpose. Because when you stop seeing toxic people as threats and start seeing them as triggers for your own evolution, you stop fearing them and begin using them, not for revenge, not for control, but for growth. And in that alchemy, you become unstoppable. Peace is not something that simply happens when the world becomes quiet. It must be cultivated, guarded, and renewed every single day. Just as your body requires cleansing, nourishment, and rest, your mind demands the same level of care. Without intentional mental hygiene, negativity, stress, and emotional residue accumulate beneath the surface, slowly eroding your clarity, confidence, and inner calm. This is why a daily mental detox is not a luxury. It is a necessity for anyone who refuses to be ruled by fear, doubt, or the emotional turbulence of others. Begin each day by setting the tone of your inner world. Start with stillness. Breathe deeply. Center yourself in the truth of who you are beyond the noise. Then consciously choose the thoughts you will entertain. Affirmations of strength, gratitude for what you have, and vision for what you're building. Do not allow the first moments of your day to be hijacked by external demands or digital chaos. Protect your morning mind like sacred ground. Throughout the day, practice awareness. Notice when your energy dips, when irritation rises, or when someone's words linger too long in your thoughts. That is the moment to pause, reset, and reclaim your focus. Step away if you must. Breathe. Repeat a calming phrase. Remember your purpose. At the end of the day, reflect, not with judgment, but with honesty. Where did you stay centered? Where did you react? What can you release? Let go of the emotional weight you carried unnecessarily. Forgive yourself for moments of weakness and reaffirm your commitment to peace. This daily ritual is not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about building a mind so strong, so clear, so aligned with your highest self that negativity cannot take root. Over time, this practice rewires your responses. You become less reactive, more resilient, more grounded. You stop absorbing the world's chaos and start radiating your own calm. And when toxic energy comes near, it doesn't stick. It slides off, repelled by the frequency you've cultivated. Your peace becomes a force field. This is not passive. It is active, deliberate, and powerful. And like any great discipline, it compounds. The more you practice, the stronger you become. The more you cleanse, the clearer you feel. The more you protect your mind, the more you unlock your potential. Inner peace is not the absence of conflict. It is the presence of mastery, and mastery is built one conscious choice at a time. Imagine a life where no insult, no manipulation, no outburst, no matter how loud or personal, can shake your inner stillness. A life where your peace is not dependent on the behavior of others, but anchored in an unshakable sense of self. This is not a fantasy. It is not reserved for saints or sages. It is available to anyone willing to claim it. True power does not lie in controlling others, winning arguments, or proving a point. It lies in mastering your own mind, emotions, and responses, especially when tested. When you cultivate this level of inner strength, you stop seeking validation from those who cannot give it. You stop measuring your worth by the reactions of people who are lost in their own turmoil. You stop allowing temporary moments of conflict to define your mood, your day, or your direction. Instead, you operate from a deeper center, a place of clarity, purpose, and unwavering self-trust. This is the legacy of unshakable peace, a life lived on your terms, undisturbed by the storms around you. It means walking into any room, facing any challenge, and remaining calm, not because nothing affects you, but because you have trained yourself to respond with wisdom, not reaction. You have learned to breathe through provocation, to listen without absorbing poison, to disengage without guilt. In this state, you become a source of stability in a chaotic world. People may not always understand you, they may even resist you, but they will never be able to control you. And over time, your calm becomes contagious. Your confidence becomes magnetic. Your peace becomes a quiet revolution. Because the world does not need more anger, more conflict, more noise. It needs more people who refuse to add to the chaos, who choose every single day to embody stillness, strength, and integrity. This is not weakness. This is the highest form of courage, to remain kind when provoked, to stay focused when distracted, to keep moving forward when others try to pull you back. That is the mark of a person who has mastered themselves. And when you reach that level, you realize something profound. You were never fighting against toxic people. You were growing beyond them. They were never your enemy. They were your training ground. And now, standing in your power, you carry a peace so deep, so complete, that no external force can ever take it from you. That is your birthright. That is your legacy. Claim it, live it, be it,